Have you ever avoided a crack because you thought it might break your mother's back? Ever knocked on wood or thrown salt over the shoulder? These quirky behaviors aren't a new phenomenon. In fact, some of them date back farther than we can even fathom. But how did they get here? In today's video, we're discussing superstitions, how they came to be, and why they still affect us in the 21st century. I'm a completely serious person. This is Night Loading. Let's go. So what exactly is a superstition? At its core, a superstition is a belief or practice that's often rooted in fear, luck, or the need to explain the unknown. From carrying lucky charms to avoiding certain numbers, superstitions help people feel a sense of security, even though there's no scientific proof behind them. If you think you don't participate in superstition, think again. Blowing out candles on a birthday cake, clinking glasses during a toast, or wearing a wedding ring on your left-hand third finger, these are all superstitions. Superstitions exist because inherently humans need to explain the unexplainable. We seek control in uncertain situations, and superstitions give us that. Their origins take us back to a simpler time when people formed beliefs based on memory, testimony, and inference. As the scholar C. Reed explains, beliefs that cannot be tested or verified fall into the category of imagination beliefs, as opposed to perception beliefs. Reed suggests that early humans were particularly prone to these imagination beliefs due to their limited reasoning skills. The vividness of their imaginations made it difficult to distinguish between what was real and what wasn't. These beliefs, though unprovable, provided comfort, especially when people were faced with the unknown. Naturally, superstitions are closely tied to the concept of magic. While we don't know exactly when magic originated, it likely came from humans' misinterpretation of coincidences, attributing cause and effect where none existed. Magic began with a small group of practitioners, but eventually spread throughout entire communities. Unlike religion, which relies on the will of a spirit or deity, magic follows a set fixed of rules believed to govern the universe. Those who practiced magic were often seen as possessing special knowledge, and with knowledge comes power, and with power comes fear. But where did superstitions come from? Let's take a look at 6 of the most popular superstitions that we still follow today, like knocking on wood or avoiding walking under ladders. Let's kick it off with the spirit of the season, Halloween. As Christianity grew and the idea of celebrating saints developed, a special day known as All Hallows Day was set at the beginning of winter, November 1st. The night before, October 31st, became All Hallows Eve, which over time transformed into the name we know today, Halloween. But long before saints were celebrated, ancient superstitions believed that on this one night each year, the boundary between the living and the dead thinned. The dead were free to wander the earth, either unseen or appearing as ghosts. If they had led dark and sinister lives, their spirits could return in that same terrifying form, just for one night. With time, Halloween became linked with numerous superstitions, each offering advice on how to ward off evil spirits or uncover glimpses of the future. If you hear footsteps behind you on Halloween night, don't turn around. Stand at a crossroads, and you will hear the wind whisper your future. If you see a spider, let it live. It may be the soul of a deceased family member. And finally, babies born on Halloween are said to be completely safe from evil spirits. Most of these old beliefs have faded into obscurity, but some have morphed into fun traditions. For example, the tradition of wearing spooky costumes comes from the idea that disguising yourself on Halloween could help you avoid being recognized by any vengeful spirits looking to settle a score. On to the next superstition. The word umbrella comes from the Latin word umbra, meaning shade or shadow. For centuries, umbrellas were solely used for protection from the sun. It wasn't until the 1700s that people began to realize, hey, we could use this for pouring rain. As with many objects, superstitions surrounded umbrellas. One of the most well-known is the belief that opening an umbrella indoors will bring bad luck. Additionally, it's considered unlucky to leave an umbrella. Additionally, it's considered unlucky to leave an umbrella, whether open or closed, on a bed or a table. Don't do it. Now, I'm not sure if this one is rooted in sexism or misogyny, but I'm going to read it to you anyway. For unmarried women, another superstition claims that if you drop your umbrella, you must wait for someone else to pick it up. Because if you pick it up yourself, it is said that you will never marry. I'm gonna be picking up umbrellas on the sidewalk. Hello, fellas. Please, somebody pick this umbra up for me, because otherwise I will be alone forever. Any takers? Any hot fellas around to pick up my umbrella, please? Oh, I'm a desperate lady. Oh, On to the next! The act of touching wood to ward off bad luck is a simple gesture, but its roots go back centuries. This superstition began with the belief that spirits lived inside trees, and by touching the wood, you were acknowledging the spirit's presence. In return, the spirit would protect you, either by ensuring good fortune or by preventing anything bad from happening. As people moved away from forests and wood became scarce, any piece of wood, no matter how small or far removed from nature, became an acceptable substitute for this ritual. These days, with plastic and synthetic materials everywhere, finding actual wood to touch can be a challenge, so many people have adapted the superstition, believing that simply saying the words, "knock on wood," is enough to invoke the same protective power. In ancient Egypt, cats were revered, even treated as gods. They were so admired that the idea of having 9 lives emerged, likely inspired by their agility and resilience. In the past, the far past, people believed that cats could be witches in disguise, so some even avoided discussing important matters around cats for fear that they were eavesdropping with malicious intent. The most well-known superstition surrounding black cats has different meanings depending on where you are. In places like Britain, Japan, a black cat crossing your path is considered good luck. But in countries like the United States, the same event is seen as a sign of bad luck. I wonder where that one came from. It's very interesting because we don't blink an eye at seeing a black dog, do we? The belief that walking under a ladder brings bad luck is one of the oldest superstitions, and while it's probably harmless for most, some people, like me, still prefer to avoid it. Oh, no. You're not gonna fucking catch me walking under a ladder. Absolutely not. Oh, no. I don't want to upset the construction gods in the slightest. No, thank you. No, I'm not doing it. Either you move your ladder, or I'll move it for you. Do you want to be on it while I move it? No? Thank you, sir. Can you actually move it for me? In Christian theology, the Holy Trinity is represented by the number 3. When a ladder leans against a wall, it forms a triangle. So walking through it was once thought to show disrespect for the Trinity, leading to bad fortune. Now this one gets even more interesting. Buckle your seatbelts. Another explanation comes from the grim history of public hangings. The ladder used to access the noose often leaned against the gallows, forming a triangle. Walking beneath it meant being uncomfortably close to death or a hanging body. Oh, so sorry, excuse me, so sorry. I need to get around you. I wish you the best in the next. But for those of you who walked under the ladder without realizing it, you're in luck, because I got some antidotes to counter that bad luck. Here we go. Cross your fingers and keep them crossed until you see a dog. Now, depending on where you are, this might take a while. Spit over your left shoulder. I'm not one of those butch straight men over here. No. So how am I supposed to spit over my left shoulder? Give me some sunflower seeds, I could do it. You can spit on your shoe and avoid looking at it until the spit dries. Now the question is, how will you know when the spit has dried if you don't look at it? And if you look at it before you're supposed to, can you spit on it again? One of the most well-known superstitions is that spilling salt brings bad luck. According to this belief, each grain of spilled salt leads to tears. But there's a way to stop this misfortune. Toss a pinch of salt over your left shoulder. The idea is that the salt will hit the devil who is lurking over your shoulder, and it'll protect you from harm. There's another lesser known superstition that is quite curious. If you've had an unpleasant guest, quietly toss some salt behind them as they leave, and they won't return. The next time an annoying bitch wanders into my household, as soon as they wander out, I'll be throwing that salt right behind them. I don't even need to be quiet about it. Bye. Don't come back. Thank you. See ya. Never. I am feeling this orange kiss Alani new. I love caffeine. Salt also has a connection to common phrases we use today. The expression, take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I'd say take his sob story with a fat grain of salt.
She'll just have to take that with a grain of salt.
I get caught selling a grain of salt for you. It's very special, that. It's the best salt in all the Shire.
Originally came from ancient Rome, where salt was thought to neutralize poison. Additionally, the word salary comes from the Roman practice of paying soldiers with salt rations known as salarium. Now, if I just did some back-breaking labor, you're not gonna pay me in salt. No, sorry. I need cash money. I need coins. Yeah. I carry a coin purse for a reason, baby. Not to put in some salt. To hear that clinking gold as I walk. Superstitions have the effect they do because of confirmation bias, the illusion of control, and the deeply rooted societal and cultural influence that they hold. As I mentioned earlier, people need to feel in control. Superstitions are essentially a way to soothe anxieties and stressors, much like a worry stone. Superstitions aren't fascinating just because of their origins, but because of how they've been passed down by generations. Whether it's saying break a leg, crossing your fingers, or not stirring your coffee with a knife, many of these beliefs have endured across centuries and cultures. Even in today's culture, superstitions are alive and well. Many people still avoid unlucky numbers like 13 or 666, believing they bring bad fortune. But in some parts of the world, there's an even greater fear of the number 4. In countries like Korea, China, and Japan, the word for 4 sounds almost identical to the word for death, leading to a deep-rooted superstition around the number. It doesn't stop at numbers, though. Superstitions have also made their way into everyday life, especially in sports and games. Athletes often follow lucky routines before a big match, while in games of chance like dice, there's a belief that blowing on the dice before rolling will bring a favorable outcome. And there's even an odd superstition suggesting that rubbing dice on a red-headed person will improve your chances. No one knows why, but it's still passed around as a quirky piece of luck. Come over here, Ron. Let me rub my dice on your head. And maybe I'll win something. But what head are we rubbing it on? Ron, drop your trousers. As we've learned, superstitions aren't limited to one culture. They exist all around the world, each with its own unique variations. From Europe to Asia to Africa, superstitions have been passed down for generations, highlighting just how universal they are as part of human culture. Superstitions may seem like harmless quirks, but they say a lot about how humans cope with uncertainty. Whether it's knocking on wood, avoiding certain numbers, or following rituals for bad luck, these beliefs have deep roots in our psychology and history. They show us how people have tried to make sense of the world and feel a little more in control of the unknown. While many of these superstitions have changed over time, they still connect us to past generations and cultures. And even though some of them seem silly today, they remind us of the universal human desire for comfort and protection. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What superstitions do you follow? Leave them down in the comments below and let's see how these traditions continue to live on. Mahalo for watching. I'll see you next time. Good night and happy Halloween.